Can I just ask you about the match on Saturday and how you look at a game like that, Six Nations match? Can you distance yourself and look at it as a fan? Are you looking at it as a coach or through a Leinster prism? How do you take it in?
No, I look at it as a coach. I always sort of like, I would look at the game as a coach and look for the trends in the game and the decisions and the defensive systems, what strike players they're using. So I'd be very much in coaching mode and working out, what would I do in these situations? How do I set the team up? Why have one team won? Why has one team lost? So any game of rugby, I'd always watch it like that. I rarely watch it as a fan, but also I was actually at the stadium, so you couldn't help but drawn into the atmosphere though. I mean, it was one of those. Sometimes you get those Six Nations games with the crowd, but the relationship between the Irish and the French fans and the ups and downs of the game made it an amazing occasion. But I was probably in an analysis mode and since the game, watched it back again just to analyse it in a bit more detail.
Yeah, I guess it's something we miss out on as media and a coach like yourself. We're missing out on the enjoyment we see the fans getting out of a brilliant test like that. But that's part of it. We don't complain. Can I ask you, it's something that Leinster have done over the last few years, the pick and jams on the line, and the subsequent rule change, which means that instead of having a scrum if you're held up, it's obviously a goal line dropout. And Ireland, I think, were held up maybe 4 times, and it happens to every team. Is there something that you have to speak about to make sure you're striking at the right time? Because previously, obviously, if it didn't work out, you still had possession close in, and now you do not. You're halfway back up the field. How do you get what do you tell the players?
I mean, they still. I mean, Andrew Porter scored, didn't he? On the back of that type of sequence as well. So it's very hard to defend. Sometimes every context is different. Sometimes you've got a bit of momentum. You're going towards the goal line. You almost get put down on top of the guy who's made the tackle. Sometimes you're a millimetre away from the line. You jam yourself over. So it's risk reward. When do you play out of the shape? When do you keep on going? There's lots of times because in order to defend it, you've got to condense your defence. The space out wide. So it's all about decisions in the moment. I don't think it's really changed our mindset. Really, we'd always look to score in any way we can near the line, whether it be maul, whether it play into space. If we're close to the line, we're back up, pick and go. Ireland obviously did get a goal line, drop out and scored on the back of it. The Hugo Kinnan try. Yeah. So it is a little bit easy defending that you can hold them up, but you've still got another defensive set coming at you.
Is this a bit of a stretch, but is the scrum less important now if you have better ball handling, better handling skills? You don't have this scrum if you're held up, and you have a lot of tap and go moves now, where traditionally that would be to the corner or take a scrum. Are you spending less time at scrummaging because of the other rule changes and the other innovations in play?
Yeah, I'd say that's true. I think often you'd maybe take a 5 metre scrum, whereas now you might take the tap and go 5 metres out because you're more in control of the outcome. The 50-50 on the scrum, the referee interprets it one way, you interpret it another, as opposed to a tap penalty 5 metres out, and you've got as you say, the different ways in which you can attack on the back of that. It's hard to defend. It's hard to defend if you do it well. Leinster saw some. We've saw some good tries this season on the back of it. So you're a bit more in control of the outcome. It's not to say you wouldn't take a scrum. Ireland took a scrum, but obviously it was on the back of Antonio being in the bin, wasn't it? So there was a reason behind that.
Yeah. And we'll just talk to me a little bit about Caelan Doris, who's had 2 brilliant games in a row, or maybe I don't know, a lot more than that. But how has he come on in the last 2 years from what you've seen close up?
Yeah, no, he's come on massively. Obviously he went through the period of not playing as much because he was off, but that period actually for him he actually grew, not just physically, but he grew mentally as well in terms of his maturity. he's always been very mature for me and very an inner confidence and inner self-belief. But that's shown itself more and more now, and his leadership voice is starting to be heard within meetings, and that confidence now he has in his physical and technical ability is showing, as you can see in the game. So you'd like to say, there's more to come from him, but he's set a very high bar at 24 years old, like a very high bar. If you were picking, who's the best number 8 in the world, then he won't be far off it at the moment, I wouldn't say.
And Ross Byrne, obviously, he's been in and out of Ireland camp, so you would have seen a bit more of him when Johnny was away and Harry was away in Ireland camp. So what does it say about his character that he has just kept his head down and kind of not worried about to talk about his form or his performances at international level? What's it say about him?
Yeah, no, he's pretty. He's got a good level of self-belief, but it's built on a firm foundation. He does the work. Very, very committed to Leinster. So when he didn't get his opportunity with Ireland, he just rolled his sleeves up and threw himself back into Leinster. Luke McGrath be very similar. Ross Maloney's been on the cusp of Ireland a couple of times. Rhys Ruddock, Scott Penny, these lads, Max Deegan. They're all the same, really. They're all very committed to Leinster. So when if they don't get picked, they throw themselves back into our programme, and I think it's served them well, to be honest, because for Ross it's meant he's had more and more game time, which has meant more and more decisions, which has meant an increase in confidence and belief. He's grown as a leader, but he's had to be patient, but he's gone about it the right way, I think. He's let his performances on the field drive and influence the coaches, who obviously have given him an opportunity. I've not been in camp, but clearly he did enough in camp to get on the bench. They trust him to come off the bench, and I think in both games where he's come off the bench, he's done extremely well.
And just the last one from me, Stuart, thanks for your time. You have the Dragons on Saturday, and obviously they're not going so well, and you're top of the table, unbeaten. Would the internationals away, and I understand the culture in Leinster is all about standards and not letting them drop, but is there something you have to do to keep topping up or keep reminding the players that are there of what's expected, and even if the Dragons are on a poor run of form, that they're not allowed to let the standards drop?
No. I mean, I don't have to continually remind them, because they feel it every time they go on a training field. So if anyone lets the standards drop on the training field, then it shows almost straight away. Clearly, I'm on and showing examples of what the very best look like, showing the Ireland examples. The last game we played was Cardiff, which was a great win. But equally, the last time we played Dragons, it was 7-6 down there, and we didn't play great at all. So, the standards is very much internal, obviously supported and driven by the coaches. And, even though there are 21 players missing, you've still got some very, very good players training today. We had 33 lads training today. Everyone wants to play, and there's only 23 lads going to get picked. So, that's the beauty of Leinster, really, the strength in depth.
Thanks very much, Stuart. Best of luck at the weekend.
Okay.
I'm just wondering there, with a player like Jamie Osborne, coming back from Ireland camp, would you notice things, that maybe he brings back into Leinster camp after spending time with the Irish setup?
Yeah, well, he's only trained today. He's only come back in today, so it's only one training session in. But generally, what I find is when they go, particularly young players, when they go into an Irish camp and come back, even if they haven't been picked, haven't been capped, they come back with more self-belief, I think, and you do see that in the players. They come back more confident because they know they've earned the right to be in the Ireland camp. They've obviously gone and trained in the Ireland camp, and as long as things go well, they've probably felt they've contributed, and they feel like they're close to achieving their goal of becoming an Ireland player. So that self-belief, when they come back to Leinster, it is noticeable, and that's also Jamie's trajectory anyway. So he's gone from very, very quiet, Ireland under-20 player, Leinster Academy, to starting in Europe, to being in the Ireland squad, and now looking very composed and very experienced at the highest level. So, but yeah, it's definitely a big bonus for us, the fact it's happened, and Jimmy O'Brien, same as well. People like that. So it's Ryan Baird, when they go in for the first time, it's nerve-wracking, but when they come out, they definitely come out better.
And again, just in relation to Ross Byrne as well, do you think that Ross has a mental toughness? As an out half, I think you obviously have to be a certain type of player, but do you think that Ross has a mental toughness which has made him, able to, be out of the loop for a bit and come back into Irish camp and all that?
Yeah, no, he's tough. He's definitely tough mentally, and he's he's confident in his ability, but he works hard at it. You know what I mean? So it's not based on, it's got a strong foundation. His toughness and his belief in himself, and I think we've always rated Ross, and he's always delivered for us at Leinster, and in every training session, every meeting, he's always leading, no matter how disappointed he was with not getting selected. He just kept his head down, and he did what every player should do. He came back to the province and played well for his province, and he earned the right to get back in there. So yeah, he is tough. There's no doubt.
Just finally, then, Stuart, Andrew Porter. He's so powerful now, and his try on Saturday was so well taken. Is his ability to score tries a big part of his game?
Say again, is his
ability to get in low and take a try, is that a big part of his game?
Yeah. I mean that's a big part of his game, but equally, if you watch his work rate around the field as a mobile, modern, loose-head prop, there can be few better, I don't think, at the moment, because he contributes in attack. He's a ball player. He can play at the line. He can run a good line onto the ball. He holds shape well. Defensively, he works hard off the ball. When there's a line break, he's sprinting back. He's the all-court loosehead, and he's got the engine, but also the power. It's rare to have the two in a prop, but he's got the two, and he's another one in absolutely fantastic form at the moment.